Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, Fabulites. This is Angela with another edition of Notes on the News, where I read to you headlines from my newsfeed and give you my thoughts about those headlines. My thoughts may be based on having read the entire article, having read just the headline, being an expert on the subject matter, or having read the headline and the paragraph following the headline. But as I said in the beginning, as I say in the title, it's not news. It's just my notes on the news. Let us proceed. All right, so Tenerife nightclub dance floor collapses, injuring 40. I think the Tenerife Islands have something to do with Africa, and they might be colonized by Spain or something like that. But the nightclub, the dance floor dropped down like to the next, like if you're on the first floor, you were on the basement, and 40 people were injured. So, yeah, don't sound like fun. I hope everybody is recovering well and all of that. House of Cards looks to resume production for final season after extended hiatus. So I wonder if Kevin Spacey is going to be a part of the production. And also I wonder if it's like business back to normal with the business of, harassing women in Hollywood and the rest of the world. Like, is this the beginning of the back to normalcy thing? Because, like we said before, the casting couch is not a new concept. That's not a new joke. That's an old joke, an old conversation, an old concept. We've been knowing that there were cockhounds and, buttholes throughout the, women. So I don't know how things got so, what shifted things so drastically so that there's been such what seems to be a strong response to this latest slate of allegations of sexual abuse, sexual misconduct, sexual harassment, rape, molestation, pedophilia. I still don't understand it. I'd be interested to read some analysis, some think pieces on what a guan. And I told y'all I saw one thing that was talking about the astrology of it, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And then I was thinking today, somewhere I heard that we're around the 100-year anniversary of women getting the right to vote. So maybe there's like some cyclical thing as well. Like maybe because it seems like with black folks, every 50, every 100 years, like we just celebrated a whole bunch of 50 years ago, the Shrine of the Black Madonna unveiled the Black Madonna. 50 years ago, there were the rebellions throughout, the country in various places. 50 years ago, this was happening. It seems like there's like cycles. So maybe there's like a cycle with this kind of stuff too. Turtles survive hibernation by breathing through their butts. I just thought that was interesting. Morning Joe called out for pre-taping post-Thanksgiving show. Morning Joe is this TV show with these two hosts. And people noticed that on the Thanksgiving show, they were like, ha, 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 how was your turkey? Oh, my God, I'm so tough stuffed. But that there was no thing on the bottom saying that it was taped live or that it was airing live or whatever. And that they also didn't talk about the mosque being bombed and so many people being killed in Egypt at the Sufi mosque on Friday. Yep, on Friday. That was the day after Thanksgiving. And that was the big news story and they didn't mention it. And people were like upset. Some people, I guess, were upset because it was, pre-taped. Which, I mean, if they're not saying it's live, anyway. And I didn't know, I know that Wendy Williams basically tapes live, but I also know because when I didn't have cable and I used to watch a lot more YouTube than I watch now, I would watch Wendy Williams' after show. And I realized from watching that she tapes the Friday shows on Thursday. She used to, and I think she still does. So on Thursday, they tape 2 shows, and then they don't work on Friday, at least in that studio on that show. And, sometimes you'll notice it, like there'll be a big story that'll break and she won't cover it. But I also notice the way that she does a lot of her, I don't know, maybe it's just that I'm in that Friday cycle. But a lot of times she'll be talking about stuff probably on Monday. And I'm like, that happened on Thursday night. It seemed like it's late old news that she's talking about, late old gossip that she's talking about. So anyway, I don't think it's like that common, but she doesn't say on her thing that it's taped live. I just knew that it was taped live. I don't know how I knew. She might have said it when she first did her sneak peek or whatever. SEC knew about weak security years before hacks. So they did some analysis and they were like, oh my gosh, we could get hacked. What should we do? Nothing. Let's just keep on doing business as usual. And then surprise, surprise, they got hacked, but y'all already knew. So it's kind of like, I guess sometimes there's this ethic, this idea of instead of doing the most, people do the least. What's the minimum that we can do to get by and keep going? Instead of, sometimes doing the most is doing the most, but sometimes doing the most is the responsible thing to do. Yeah. Woody Moy dies. Never heard of Woody Moy. He was the Asian American acting pioneer and star of Chan is Missing, and he was 99. So rest in peace, Mr. Moy. The New York Times is getting slammed for its sympathetic profile of a suburban neo-Nazi. This whole country, for the most part, is sympathetic to racism and racist sentiments, sexism and sexist sentiments, classism and classist sentiments. This whole country and the corporate news and, a lot of, or not the whole country, but a lot of the mainstream things in this country are all about and all for rich white men with property and power. And then everything else is kind of secondary to that. So that's not a surprise to me. Italy's top anti-mafia cop says organized crime groups are working together to control drug trafficking. So like the Cosa Nostra, I think that's like the big one that they had in the movies, The Godfather. Is that what it's called? I saw Goodfellas. I haven't seen any Godfathers. But that all of they're working together and that they have a big reach so that they can distribute heroin and cocaine and prostitution or whatever mob people do. So I didn't even realize that there was still a big Italian mob, or that, it's kind of like, okay, they have a top anti-mafia cop in Italy. Who knew? Yemen War. First food aid arrives at port after blockade eased. We had talked about this, the fact that there was a blockade, and I think you had to go through some hoops in order to get into the country, and food and supplies to help people were not getting in because of the blockade. So the first food has arrived, and they had, again, another image of a child. It wasn't the same child, but the Pentagon is likely to admit that there are 2,000 U.S. troops in Syria. And the article was saying, the little bit that I skimmed, that basically the government has admitted that there are like around 500 troops. It's just, they're helping out, here and there. But there are 2,000. And I feel like the United States is an imperialistic country. So we go around the world, and like we have troops, American troops all over the world. What are we doing? Why are they there? It's because we're an imperialistic nation, and we're an it's imperialism. And so I feel like under this administration, I imagine that the imperialism is way worse. The FBI failed to notify officials that they were being targeted by Russian hackers allied with the Kremlin. And I think there were 2 people who were notified by the FBI that they had been targeted by these hackers. And then other people, the AP was doing a story, and in their research, they figured out who had been targeted. And they told people, and people were like, the FBI didn't tell me. And some of those people were retired, but some of those people were like working for the government. And the FBI is supposed to tell people so that, one, you don't get hacked. Hey, you a possible target. And 2, if you have been hacked, you can deal with what possibly has been compromised. So what's going on at the FBI? North Korean defector having kidnap nightmares, says surgeon. So this is a guy who There's been video footage of him, trying to drive across from North Korea to South Korea through the DMZ, the demilitarized zone. And then also when something happened with the car, he jumped out and he ran and he got shot at like 20 or 40 times. He got hit about 5 times. They got him over to South Korea. He's been in surgery. He woke up. He like, am I in South Korea or am I in North Korea? They like, you in South Korea. He like, can I hear some Korean music? Now he having nightmares. I was reading this piece about somebody who lived in North Korea, and they were like, just like when I refer to one of the women on The View refers to the guy as the new guy. Some people refer to him as 45. I refer to him as 0. I got that from poetry. But in North Korea, the person was saying you would have to say the most honorable and wonderful President Trump, our wonderful, brilliant, smart leader, President Trump. You can't just be throwing out, 9 names for him. You have to say his name, and you have to put a handle or 2 or 3 on it to make it like, woo, we just love Trump so much. My goal in life is to please, the president of North Korea. And I think that that's how 0 would like it to be here. I mean, I don't know, but that's kind of the impression that you get. Rohingya women face greater magnitudes of suffering. That's like a worldwide phenomenon. It seems like black people have it worse than everybody else. Women have it worse than everybody else. Poor people have it worse than everybody. If you're not a rich white male with property and power, you have it worse than everybody else. The less of those things that you had, the worse it is for you. That's how it seems, but that's just an illusion, because in God's world, everything is wonderful and beautiful, and we're all empowered and loved and safe, right? We want to affirm that. We claiming that. We see that. We can see through to the truth of good in God. Toronto School Board votes to scrap police in school program. Local activists rejoice. Me too. What are police doing in schools? The big stores that track your every online move. So you buy something from a big store, Target, Amazon, and then they just, now that you bought something from them, everywhere you go, they tracking where you go on your computer. But they ain't telling you that, and you ain't giving permission to do that. That's like I go to a store, like, in real life, I go to a store and I buy a knife, a plate, a blanket, I don't know. And then now they following me everywhere I go. Like wherever I go, they following me because I went in the store and bought a knife. I didn't give you permission to follow me. You following me covertly. You ain't like, yeah, I'm here. Interpol, 400 human traffickers arrested. I'm sorry, not 400, 40. 40 human traffickers arrested, 500 victims saved. Yay for the people who have gotten some relief. And I'm sorry for the suffering that you've experienced and the misuse and abuse that you've experienced. Iceland women politicians go public on harassment. So women politicians in Iceland are like, yeah, we getting harassed. This is the issue. This is what's going on. Trudeau apology to Aboriginal children. So he apologized to Aboriginal children who were taken away from their families. And not only were the children harmed and hurt, but their families were harmed and hurt, and their communities were harmed and hurt. And the whole country and the whole world is actually harmed and hurt, because when you injure one part, you injure all of us. We're all connected. But I guess an apology is a good start. Education department considers shrinking civil rights work. They're like, let's separate things more. Instead of integrating our analysis of what's going on, let's separate it out. Instead of like, if we have a cop that is, acting up in Chicago, let's not investigate to see if this is part of a systemic thing, a thing that's going, let's just focus on that one cop and that one activity. Let's not even look at what else he may have done. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to be like, civil rights. If one person is doing something wrong in the education department, we don't need to look to see if it's a pattern. Pattern schmattern. It's just a continuation of the work under the Zero administration, of dismantling anything slightly, mildly progressive, anything, yeah. Vincent Tubbs, first African American to head a motion picture industry union. We were just talking about unions the other day. National Negro Health Week, formed to educate Black communities on proper health practices. I never heard of National Negro Health Week, but I'm here for National Negro Health Week. Yes, health. Let's talk about health. Let's talk about nutrition. Let's talk about taking good care of ourselves. Let's talk about how to take better care of ourselves. Let's talk about how to elevate our eating. Yes, let's talk about it. Not just for a week, but a week of focusing on that. That would be a great start. And then you could have a month. You could have the year, yes. Egypt mosque attack. One of the people was saying, I saw 10 to 20 people with weapons. That's a lot of people. Israel gives African migrants a choice: accept deportation or indefinite imprisonment. Get out or get locked up, Negroes in Israel. Is the Black community ashamed to see poor African Americans on TV? I don't know, but I feel like I like to see people who are doing well and who are thriving and who seem sane and prosperous. It's like it gives you a vision and a hope. But, I don't know. Am I against seeing poor people on TV? I don't know. I never really thought about it. Roy de Carava, great American artist and photographer of Harlem, New York. De Carava. I don't know who he is. LAPD has 28 open sex crimes investigations of Hollywood and media. Black Mirror Season 4 trailer, Good Parenting takes a dark turn in Jodie Foster's Archangel. I love Jodie Foster. I love Black Mirror. It's coming back. I'm so excited. I'm exciting too, but I'm excited. Russian President Putin signs foreign agent media law. The woman leading amputees to the top of Mount Kilimanjaro. Over 1.3 million anti-net neutrality FCC comments are likely fakes. China explosion. Ningbo port city rocked by major blast. Senegal's new $575 million airport finally opens after 10-year saga. Mount Agung, Bali volcano activity prompts red warning. Israel health minister resigns over Sabbath rail works. He the Sabbath is sacred. We're not supposed to be doing work on the Sabbath. And the people are like, well, the Sabbath ain't nobody on the train, so that's a good time to do work on the trains. And so he I'm resigning because I believe in following our beliefs of the Bible, our, whatever our guidance is, as it says. I don't think it's no exceptions to that. And that's what I got. Thank you so much for tuning in to Notes on the Newsfeed. I'm Angela, and the channel is Be Fabulous You. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Today is the best day ever. You are the greatest. Welcome back. Subscribe. We're working on 200 subscribers. Like, comment. Be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous you. Be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous you. Be you. Be fabulous. Be